So to work with nature and get things settling in a little bit faster, here are some trees that I would recommend trying to integrate into your garden. So this is a winter thorn, which is a lovely native tree, really hardy, really fantastic for getting started in weak and poor soils. And because of its very strange timing with its leaves, so it's generally leafed up all through the dry season and leafless during the wet season, it's a really good one once it's established in a spot for then planting other trees underneath. So for example, down here, I have a jackfruit, which is one of the truly tropical fruits, which can be a bit tender in Zambia generally, but if it's in shade, it can be actually really hardy once established and need very little extra care. This does get a little bit of water, but it probably won't need that in a couple of years once it's had a little bit more establishment, because it's got the shade of this lovely winter thorn keeping it protected all through the dry season. So another tree, which I think a lot of people don't realize is native, but actually is native to parts of Zambia, is Dracaena fragrans. So this is a very common garden plant. It is very popular as a house plant because it grows really well in pots. It grows really easily from cutting, so you could literally just cut this off and plant another one. And not only does this take very well if you plant it during the rains and need no real extra care, it also produces these lovely leaves, which are a constant source of food for the soil, and it can shelter more tender plants coming up below it. It does want a little bit more shade than something like the winter thorn will, but it will settle really well in areas that aren't irrigated and just start building them back up a little bit. One of the frustrations with guava trees is they can pop up just about everywhere. And that can be a real problem in natural systems, but in a garden system, it's actually not so much of a problem because all of this is biomass. All of this can be chopped off, turned into mulch and added to the soil, and it's going to keep building it. And while you've got the central stem standing, if you just keep on taking off the side branches, that's going to really slow down the wind and really make the soil a lot more hospitable for what you actually want to be growing. And once you've got other things established, once they're stable, once they can look after themselves, the guava can come out. But in the meantime, it's moved in and it's got everything ready for your plants. This is another tree which can be quite good for getting started. So this is the pencil tree. It's a euphorbia. It is really easy to get settled in, and it's actually a really good barrier. If you have goats or cattle nearby that you don't want getting to your plants, you can plant this and make a dense hedge. But it's also very good for someone which is completely dead. The thing is, you don't want too much of it in one place because it can slowly toxify the soil and make it a lot harder for other things to grow. So if you are going to plant them, don't plant too many. But if you do plant them, you're in quite good company because this is one of the first non-edible plants that was ever domesticated. This has been being grown by humans for at least 6,000 years around Africa and Asia. And it is very useful, but again, be cautious, don't plant too much of it because then you can find it a little less helpful.